I call to order this meeting of USD 49 Board of Education for November 18, 2019. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All righty. Seeing none or hearing none, please vote electronically and state the same when it's available. Vote aye if you approve the agenda, nay if you do not approve, and abstain if you preserve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm still working through the bugs on this electronic and voice vote, so bear with me, folks. All right, second item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I have something myself to discuss here real quick. We have 5 new hires in the personnel transactions. I would like to welcome Carolyn, Noelia, Kelly, Braden, and Krista to USD 49. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor of the agenda, vote aye and state the same. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, vote no and nay and state the same. Any nays? Okay, motion passes. 5-0. I believe it's going to show. Okay, motion passes 5-0. One, two, three, four, five, 6. Oh, I'm sorry, 6-0. All righty. Item number 3 on the agenda is recognitions. Ron, do you want to take this part?
Yep, I'll take this part. We have quite a few people that we'd like to recognize this evening. We're going to start with the Roosevelt nutrition staff. Are you, if you'd come forward. Yes, there you are. Come up here. Okay, the Roosevelt nutrition staff, they're being recognized this evening for their effort and energy that they have put into the breakfast program at Roosevelt. There are many emotions that come to school in the morning with small children. The nutrition staff works very hard to meet the needs and get these students off to a great start for the day. They are bringing their best every single day, and they are being a champion for kids. Thanks to the Roosevelt kitchen staff for driving the bus. We have kitchen manager Patty Kuhn. Oh man, Joel. I even practiced this before and I can't even remember now. Help me out.
Yeah.
DM. It is, okay, I thought it was totally different. DM Qua. Yeah, I got the last name. Adriana Polson, Paulette Seib, Connie Pemberton, and Margaret Kippis. Awesome. I eat lunch with these ladies every once in a while, and they do a great job, so thanks for everything that you do. We really do appreciate it.
Get out of the way. I'll be standing there like a
Yeah.
Mrs. Rice, were you wanting to say something? No?
Yeah, real quick. Sorry, guys. A lot of times our classified folks get overlooked for the contribution that they make to our kids every day, and these ladies are a shining example of that. They have saved more fits and more. They're just really proactive folks, and they truly come to work every day for the kids. We couldn't do it without them, and I am so grateful to all of them. Thank you, girls.
Great work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How
Congratulations.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I even practiced. I couldn't remember.
You have to read. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next recognition for Making a Difference Award goes to our Hayes High School Foundation Team, Achieve Team. The Hayes High School Indians Achieve Team promotes a safe, civil, and respectful school environment for all students and staff. The team, with the help of other staff, identifies areas that need improvement and develops solutions to the problems. I'm going to have Mr. Straub. He would like to you say a few things, and then you can introduce.
If I could introduce them?
Yes, introduce them.
And the chief team would come up. As they come up, Luke Lundmark, social studies teacher, Jenny Getz, math teacher, Profe, Whitney, Spanish teacher, Haley Wolf, health and PE, Michelle Thacker, family and consumer science, Beth Shield, science teacher, Nicole Lynn is our school psychologist, and Lisa Renz, English teacher. These folks are our leaders in really helping develop a positive culture in our school. We really focus on the 3-to-1 positive interventions with, see, do a thumbs up to me. With our kids and our staff as well. We really believe that our culture at Hayes High School is one that we treat each other with respect as adults, between kids and kids to students, kids to teachers, teachers to kids. And we're very proud of our culture. A lot of the things we've implemented the last 3 years came because of the training that the district gave us from safe and civil schools, and I think our kids benefit from it. So it's my way to say thank you to them for their leadership, and we just had a Q burger that helped. So thank you all very much.
Get away, huh? Gotta walk the gauntlet.
Great. Congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
You can bring us a prize or anything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stop.
You're walking the gauntlet here?
Thank you, Michelle. This is one of many things you all do. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You brought some flowers.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, our next recognition is our 489 Student Spotlight Award. Tonight we'd like to recognize Levi Hickert. So Levi, could you come forward? Levi is a senior at Hayes High School, and as a community service project, he chose to update the American Legion's Veterans Memorial Park in Hayes. He replaced unreadable plaques, painted park benches, and a well house. Levi worked with several community businesses and the Hayes Parks Department to leave the memorial park in a much better place. Excuse me. The driving force for his patriotism is his grandfather, who served in the military. Levi is planning to attend Fort Hayes next year and working towards a degree in mechanical engineering. And Mr. Straub?
Just what you see and what you get is, you know, he not only is he an exceptional student, he's just a good citizen. You know, I know that he took advantage of Boys State and just about every opportunity. I think his mom had, and his dad, and probably his older sisters had a lot of influence on him. But, man, you're a good guy, and you really represent what we want at Hayes High. We have 1,000 we could present, but tonight we're going to recognize you. Thank you for your patriotism, too.
Thank you. And I'm getting a little emotional.
Thank you, guys. Better in. Thank you, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Levi, for everything. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think the cool story also just, and he shared with me before the meeting, that after he did this, the number of veterans who have actually come by his house to thank him for doing this, which is really cool, really cool. Lots of good things going on. Here we go. We got a bunch more now. Here we go. Hayes High School Chess Club. Please come forward. Okay, the Hayes High School Chess Club took first place at the Wichita Chess Tournament. This was a very large tournament and the biggest meet that as a team they have ever attended. Sheena Zeng was first place overall winner. Noah Bruggerman placed ninth, and Japheth Brini, I'm sorry. They'll take this away from me pretty soon. Placed 10th. The chess club is coached by Aaron Holder. Other team members on the Hayes High School Chess Club are Raiden Hartman, Sydney Walker, and Jonathan Garner. And Mr. Schraub, did you have
No,
something?
it's just a good example of something that starts because of an idea from kids and going to our library aid. So when there's a demand from our kids that they want me to be involved in something positive after school and during school time, we find a way to do it. And our school has done a wonderful job. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you guys for representing us so well. And they beat some very strong academic schools in this state too. We're very proud of you guys. Yeah, good job, guys.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations, thank you very much.
Good job. Sorry about the name.
Congratulations. Yes, super congratulations, way to go. Nice job, thank you.
Good job.
You bet, way to represent Hayes High, congratulations guys, proud of you.
Sheena? Did she already leave? She's out the door. I think the cool thing is Sheena, at I've seen her at O'Laughlin after school with the after school kids, and I think she's just donating her time to work with the kids in the after school program, which I think is really cool too. Another just great thing that kids are doing. Okay, here we go, moving on. More good things. Hayes High Math Relay Team, come forward. Congratulations to our Hayes High Math Relays team. Hayes High Math Relay team, which includes 17 students, freshmen through seniors, brought home another first place finish at the 2019 Fort Hays State Math Relays. They were competing against 40 different schools with around 700 kids from across Kansas. They are coached by Dustin Dreher, who is not able to be with us this evening because he is coaching the Hayes Middle School basketball team. Seniors, would you just like to introduce yourself? That'll be quick.
Go ahead and go online and introduce yourself.
Andrew Jr.
Ashley Duison, Jr.
Zachary Chance, Jr.
Alexis White, Jr.
Anthony Ariel, Freshman.
Jalen Thomas, sophomore.
Nate Clark, Jr. Carson Ackerman, Senior. Taylor Schwartz, Jr.
And Mr. Trump?
The only thing I'd like to say is we always want it to be McPherson because they're really the top dogs in this type of event. And my oldest niece actually is the calculus teacher there, and she's the coach of their team. She texted me last week and said, "Your guys are kicking our." So that was such good news. Because last year we won it also, but the person couldn't attend. And that's why she said we won it, not this year. Congratulations.
We're not done yet.
As a math department, we really are just
very proud of these kids. This isn't the whole team, but they did very, very well. We have the results posted somewhere online that you guys can find. We just wanted to say that their success is really a collaboration of all K through 12 teachers and all of the parents. They really came together, and their problem-solving skills are just top-notch, and that's really because of the entire district. So thanks to you guys as well.
We're going to start the hand slap. We're going to move you faster.
Hand slap, hand slap.
There you go.
Thank you. Congratulations. Nice job. Way to bring them to go.
Nice job. Way
Good
to
job.
represent.
Proud of you.
Way to represent. Good job.
Nice
Thank you.
Proud
Good
of
job,
you.
guys.
Thank you very much. Keep it up.
Wearing the mask.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
They were down before we
Yes, I didn't agree with our hand slap.
Okay, now, and we're not done yet. We've got a lot of great things happening. Talia McCrae and the Hayes High School State Golf Team, please come forward. We wanted to recognize Talia as well as the Hayes High School State Golf Team. Talia finished 12th place. She was a medalist at the 5A State Golf Tournament in Emporia on October 23rd. We're very proud of her accomplishments and for representing Hayes High so well. The Hayes High Golf Team also qualified for the state tournament. Sophia Garrison finished just out of medaling, placing 25th. The team fought very windy conditions, and I remember that day, and it was horrific on the Monday of the state tournament, and did not make the cut to the second day, but we're very proud of your efforts. And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sophia Garrison, Jr. Katie Dinkle, freshman. Sierra Smith, Jr. Andrea Lopez, Jr. Hannah Eikenberry, freshman. Bree George, sophomore. Katie Dinkle, sophomore. Summer Schneider, sophomore. Marissa Hoffman, sophomore.
I'm Mark Watson, coach.
Very good.
One thing about these young ladies, we started with 18 girls. There are some girls that couldn't make it tonight, but as you know, we don't have a senior. So the outlook for next year is really, really good. These girls participated in 10 tournaments during the year, and we got in the top 3 9 times. And we had an unfortunate, because he was talking about the win, we were in 3rd place going into the last 9 holes. And that's just how tough it was on that back 9. We did finish in 9th place, but we've got a great nucleus back for next year, and I'm looking for great things happening with these girls. We've got 14 years in a row to state, so it's a tribute to these girls. So, good job, ladies.
Hand slap over here. It's a hand slap, at least on this side.
Congratulations. Nice job. Thank you. Good job. Good job, ladies. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job.
Good job.
Next year's state champions, right? State champions.
Congratulations.
There you go. Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Congratulations.
You bet. State champions next year, right?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Get the plate.
And we have one more.
Okay.
Our high school musical. If you're part of the high school musical, just come forward.
Yeah.
This was my first opportunity to be able to see a Hayes High School musical. I came away just overly impressed. You guys have set the bar very high. It was just an outstanding performance. I've got to see it 2 times, and I think it got better. The second time was just outstanding. So, Mr. Underwood, would you like to say a few things?
Sure. So these are just some of the probably 55 students who collaborate to put on our annual fall musical, and we just had a really, really great time this year, and it's just such a treat to get to work with them and to push them to work at a really high professional level, so that way they're delivering an amazing product for our audiences. So, and I know a lot of you got to see one of the student matinees on Tuesday or Wednesday, but we did 6 performances in a row, yesterday being the last one just across the hall here in the auditorium. And we just had a wonderful time, and it's such a joy to get to work with such talented students. You want to say your names?
Caitlin Eagle, senior.
Hannah Danner, senior.
Ian McGuire, junior.
Shirley Lee, sophomore.
Thomas Scott, junior. Andrew Duke, junior.
Caitlin Likert, junior. Ashley Rising, junior.
And I would like to thank Alex, you and your leadership and all your crew for the folks that bring the semis in from Nebraska to Lexi Robinson, obviously, your orchestra up above. But, you know, you learn a lot about music and acting, but you also learn about perseverance and teamwork and supporting one another. And people have bad days, you got to help pick them up. And that's probably just as important as anything. But wonderful job, guys. I'm very proud of you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Hands up to this side. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Hey, what was the score on the pants? Good job. They were too big. Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
I can't believe they're still alive. Yay, congratulations, Alex.
All right, I'm going to wait a minute for this to filter out. Well, we certainly have a lot going on in this district.
A lot of great things.
Yeah. All righty, let's move to the next item on the agenda, which is the public forum. It's an opportunity for folks to speak to the board, if you would like to do so. I want to, while I'm waiting for people, if they want to, I want to take a minute to thank 4 members of the board. I've enjoyed working with you for the past couple of years. Greg, Paul, Mandy, Luke. I know we have more meetings, but I know in January.
One more. One more.
Counting me. We have one more meeting, but I want to say thank you at this point. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to item 5 on the agenda. Presentations. Ron, do you want to take this one, or should I?
Yeah, I asked Mr. Albers, one of the really good things that are going on in our district are what we're doing at the middle school with our peer tutor program.
Okay.
So,
I'm not Mr. Albers, but.
he's hiding.
Okay, can you get something there? I have a very, hopefully this is working. Okay. Just to kind of give you a little brief history about peer tutors. Peer tutors have been in our district for a very long time. They were first at Felton when we were 2 separate middle schools. And I was the counselor that added them to Kennedy way back when. So they've definitely been in existence for over 20 years. What you see on this slide are what our current numbers are for the first semester. How many tutors are placed in each building. So they are at the middle school and at every elementary and the early childhood center also. When we originally started, our numbers were a lot smaller. So I think seeing the volume of numbers and knowing that we have 176 students that are 7th or 8th graders placed as peer tutors right now, and an additional 168 with me still placing up to 19 more for the spring semester that have been requested by teachers. I think that speaks volumes to our students because they are the ones who have sold the program. And teachers, you know, I have more and more teachers, and many of these teachers behind you are really the people who make the program work, because most of these teachers have peer tutors in their classrooms. And our students, I remember, 20 years ago, stressing to them that they were the ones that had to sell the program. And I think, when I first started the program, I placed less than 10, and now I'm placing 176. So they are obviously doing some services for our teachers and our students in our district that teachers feel are very, very beneficial. Having this program has saved the district a lot of money, and specifically it's saved at Hayes Middle School. If we did not have peer tutors, we would need a teacher to teach some form of an elective class, like 1 to 1.5 instructional positions, because I coordinate it, but I am a school counselor. So my role is not, traditionally in the classroom, but I'm able to coordinate this program because of the wonderful teachers you see behind me, many of them taking our students, and allowing our whole district to benefit with, but the ultimate goal to just increase student learning. And they do that either by directly working with students, and you see various roles. They may be helping one-on-one in small groups, or they may just be supporting teachers by making materials for them, hanging bulletin boards, and doing activities that they would have to take their own time to do if they were not there. In fact, if our peer tutors miss, our teachers miss them greatly, because they know exactly what they need from that person coming into their room, and they really grow to depend on them. So our peer tutors know that whether they're working directly with students or they're working indirectly by supporting a teacher, that they are increasing student learning in our district. So it's a very popularly requested class by our students. And one of the neat parts about peer tutors is that we have students in general education and students who receive special services who are able to serve in the role of peer tutor. And this really gives them an opportunity to succeed that they might not normally have. And sometimes we have students that might struggle in some traditional classes that go on to be a peer tutor, and I receive raving reviews from them, from their supervising teachers, who greatly benefits their self-esteem, because they now can go into a younger classroom and be a leader and be honestly like a little hero to these younger students who really grow to look up to them. So some of the benefits, some of the criteria for success that our peer tutors are graded on are the items that are listed above. And I teach our peer tutors, it's almost like they have a job, because they are leaving our building, either walking as a group over to Wilton or on a bus with a bus driver, but not with a teacher. And so they have to be responsible enough to get themselves to their correct placement, go into a building quietly, always, step up to the plate and be supporting learning, not only, whatever's going on academically, but social learning as role models too. And I definitely stress to them that they're going to be watched, just like teachers are watched in our community, when they're not in that classroom. And the importance of continuing to fulfill the expectations of being that role model and being someone that parents who have those peer tutors in those classes would want their own kids to grow up to be like. Okay, and so I think, unless I skipped one, that those were all the slides for us tonight. Any questions for me?
It's been going on for about 20 years, you say?
I know
So,
it was at Felton first, and
Okay.
I've been a counselor in the district for 20 years. This is my 20th year. And I started it pretty early on at Kennedy, so it's been going on for a long time. In fact, many of those wonderful students that you saw once upon a time were definitely Christian.
Do you have any idea how, and this is a weird question, I guess, but tracking the students, the people involved in the peer tutor program, and how successful they are later on, or what they do afterwards?
There's criteria for students to be a peer tutor. So we look at high attendance, they have to have passing grades, and so all of those things are monitored. I would say that many of them definitely go on to be leaders, because it's a leadership type position, so it probably encourages that. And like I said tonight, that one of the neat parts for me to sit here and see all of those students presented. Obviously, I have them as students as a school counselor, but many of those I remember, checking out every day as a peer tutor as they left the building to go help in other schools. And definitely some of them do grow up to become teachers and educators. I think of one student who is coaching in our building right now that was a peer tutor, and he is becoming a teacher, and many other, I saw a young man walk in here that's in the process of becoming a music teacher. He was a peer tutor at one point, so lots of success stories. And it's a success too if they learn, you know what, I like children, but this isn't what I want to do all
Right,
day, every
right.
day, because they're in an exploration stage. So that's a great lesson to learn too.
Okay, fantastic.
I guess I just want to point out too, I agree with Mike and I like what he's saying, but one of the positive things I'm seeing here is the lives they touch. You know, I mean, because we're looking at 170 students, but they are touching the other 2,800. You know, and I don't think you can quantify the hey, the high fives, the thank you, the little things that might make a difference in all those other students.
Thank you, I agree, and I definitely tell them when they, like, they're gonna see you this summer at the pool, and they don't care that you're with your little friend group, they're gonna wanna run up to you and give you a hug, and I always check back. Did that happen? Oh yeah, that happened. And our middle schoolers love that too. They love to get to be that role model.
And we just know how, role model. And we just know how they always want to be like someone else, and it's so great to have that.
Yes, definitely.
Great.
Any other questions?
I would just, this has been one of the cool things that I'm out in schools quite a bit, and I see these kids come in the building. I see them interacting with our elementary kids, and it's just a very positive thing. I'm glad you touched on some of them might be teachers in the future, because I do think that's something that we have to promote consistently, even when they're in middle school. I think also just another point is, I think just a reference for, I think you said 176 kids.
Right now, our place.
These are 100. We'd have to put these 176 kids somewhere else if we did not do this program. This is how valuable this program is. It does take a lot of busing, takes a lot of coordination, a lot of scheduling. It's just unbelievable the work that goes into getting this accomplished, and it's a great thing, and it's kind of why I wanted it to be brought to the forefront, because it's just a really, really positive thing in our district. And so thank you for your work. I talk to kids all the time, and they talk about, they like being role models. They really embellish that role of being the role model for the younger kids. So they're listening to you. And they're also very disappointed, because I talked to some the other day that were very disappointed that they did not get it for second semester.
It is a highly popular.
And they actually asked me, they said, Mr. Wilson, would you pull some strings for us?
We still have a few open.
Okay.
But I have to say thank you to these teachers sitting behind me, because the program, I get to coordinate it, which is a lot of fun for me, to have that contact with those students that go out and serve. But if it wasn't for the teachers who open their classrooms to them and serve as mentors to them as peer tutors, the program would not exist. So it really is a district-wide effort.
It is, that's true. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, discussion and action items. We have 2 action items to discuss and vote on tonight. Number 1, the transfer of the Munzur building to the Salina Catholic Diocese, and the second is the purchase of new buses. So, first item, do I have a motion to approve the transfer of deed for the Munzur building to the Salina Catholic Diocese?
I'll move to approve the transfer deed for the Munzur building to Salina Catholic Diocese as presented.
Do we have a second? Is that Sophia? Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, any discussion? We discussed this last meeting, so probably not, but just in case. Okay. Now we're going to vote. So I'm going to change this up. I think after 3 or 4 meetings, I finally figured it out. Let's go ahead and vote like we normally do. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Say nay. Okay, now go ahead and vote electronically as you stated. So we should have 6-0. You can't change your mind once you say it. You're locked in.
Yeah, technically you can.
Well,
I don't know how to log in.
I guess you can. That's why we do it verbally, so that Jess can take care of it for us. Okay, so that motion passes 6-0. The next item under discussion is the purchase of 3 new buses. Do I have a motion to approve the acceptance of bids for the 3 new school buses from Kansas Truck for district transportation?
I'll move to approve the acceptance of bids for 3 new school buses from Kansas Truck for district transportation.
Do I have a second of this motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And Russ is here if you have any questions.
know it was brought up in a board memo, but I still think we ought to move forward on the purchase of the coach bus and get that started today versus waiting until next year. The longer you wait, the longer it's going to be before it can be used. And I assume when they come in, they're not error-free, so at least if we started it today, the bus can be purchased before the end of the school year and be usable at the start of next school year. So I would ask to amend it to include that purchase as well out of reserve or capital outlay reserve funds.
So to clarify, your motion is to, or your amendment is to, one of the buses be the coach bus, or the.
No.
In addition.
Leave it as is in
Oh,
addition,
in addition, okay. So
as we
three
discussed last meeting.
buses plus the one bus.
For the funding part of that, was that our plan, or was our plan to take it out of next year's budget? I can't remember.
Well, at the work session, we discussed maybe having it all ready, and then after July 1st, the next school year, we could use the funds, have it all ready to be purchased, and then once July hit the fiscal year, we could buy it right away and be able to use it for fall sports. That's kind of what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
I mean, the idea being you would go ahead, you know, and kind of give verbal approval that, yeah, but we would not actually officially make till the next budget year.
But that was what was discussed, but that's not my motion. My motion is that we do it now because we have the money in reserve for instances just like this. The money that would be budgeted next year would be placed back into reserve, so it's really 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. It's the same money, it's just advancing it. The only risk is that if you have an emergency, something that happens between the time we purchase it after the first of the year and July 1, you could potentially have an issue, but there's still going to be significant money in capital outlay reserves.
Okay.
Or contingency, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and second the motion so we can discuss it. I second the amendment. Then we need to vote on the merits of the amendment before we go to the vote. After discussion. After we discuss. But I want to do it so we can discuss it.
Okay, so the amendment's been
We've got a
made
vote on
and
the
seconded.
amendment. Yeah.
Any
Russ, I
discussion?
know we discussed it a little bit, but, and I know the condition of the coach bus, but can you just kind of refresh my memory
Yeah.
again? I mean, I know it was planned, and I know it's got issues, but run through some of those issues again, and timeline, and,
We have a coach.
well, we have something you're
We
replacing,
have
basically.
a multifunctional school bus that's painted white,
So,
that it holds 42.
and the intention is to replace that, correct?
We'd be replacing some older yellow buses that we use for activities. So
Okay.
we would be replacing some of they're yellow, they have bench seats, you know. So we would be replacing some of the older with this newer one. The white one, we would still continue to use it because there's still some good life in that bus yet. So.
Was this proposed coach bus as part of your 5-year plan that you had put together?
Yeah, I put on there next couple of years was going to be the activity buses that I budgeted for them. So
But it was-
after this year, the next 2 years for sure was going to be upgrading our activity buses. So it is on the list for next year. Yes.
This is the bus, though, and no one was able to make it, but we did bring it. A salesman brought it through. He was on his way to Phillipsburg. I think I sent something out just to make you aware that it was here, and I knew it was kind of middle of the day. But it's 51 passenger bus. It would be a great bus for the number of miles that our students and coaches travel. A little bigger seats, wider seats, more room. It's definitely not plush, but it's nicer than what we're currently using in terms of space.
It's similar in nature to what all the WAC schools have. And we would have one, most of them have 2, correct?
Great Man's got a couple of them, Garden City's got a couple, Liberal's got a couple.
And not only them, but Phillipsburg's getting one, it sounds like. Russell, everybody around us has the same thing, we just don't.
Yeah,
It's not like we're not going to be some elite school, we're going to be just somebody that's equal with everybody else.
Yeah. Are you in a position, if this amendment is approved and goes through, to take this on at this time of year, or is this a bad time of year to put out a request to buy it?
No, I don't think it's a bad time of the year, so I don't have no hard figures right now, price, but, you know, they're $240,000, $250,000 ballpark, so.
And then financial question down there to our financial director.
Yes.
How does that, was that, with that price range that we're hearing about, 250,000, we have reserves to cover that if we were to move this year with the contingency that would be replaced at the next fiscal year?
We're talking about it under contingency?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
money's there in contingency, for sure. If that's where you choose to spend.
And you don't feel it would disadvantage us in a significant way to,
Depends on what happens.
depends what happens. We get a blizzard, maybe we have a problem, or,
You
yeah.
just, you know, I'd hate to speculate, but you certainly have enough money in contingency now to buy one of those buses.
What would that lower the contingency to if we were to?
I'll take 239,000 off of, what is it, 1.2 at this point?
For 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Well,
give or
when-
take.
Well, when the purchase, what's the time frame to get something like this bid and purchased?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he said 6 to 8 weeks is what he, didn't he say?
Probably the minimum, yeah. So,
But you would have it probably in time for track season to utilize it for that, and then for the next school year, right?
I'm sure we could probably do our best to get to that.
I mean,
Which is
you would be able to
basically
do
late
it.
March, 1st of April, so.
Just a matter whether they could provide it in that time.
Right.
Okay.
If it's March or April, now you're looking at about 3 months.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, by the time it came in, I'm sure we're talking late March, 1st of April, when the sports would start, so.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the pay period.
They're manufactured, and like you said, a lot of people are buying them out, so they're made in Springfield, Missouri, so we'll get our name on one, we'll get on the list.
So,
Hopefully have it by then.
so in your professional position, do you see this as a wise move for us to consider that?
I do, you know, like I said, I've talked to a lot of the other wax schools that got them, I've talked to other schools, and I asked them, would you buy them again, and they've all said yes. You know, they're done everything I've asked them to do, and they're happy with them, and they would continue to buy them, and will continue to buy them.
I think the thing is, if had you had the opportunity to get on the bus, you would realize that it's probably would be a good bus for our district. Now, you know, and that was the plan, is that we would have one by the start of the next school year. If it's such, you know, we just have it, I guess, for track season. But I mean, our kids are traveling lots of distances, lots of miles. Coaches especially, you know, it probably is harder on our coaches than maybe our students, but the number of miles they put on. So.
Okay.
And Russ, just, I mean, if we get this, we're still probably one short, aren't we?
You know, one's good, two's even better, obviously, but, you know, it's a lot of money, you know, so. But I've just tried to work it in our budget for the last 5 or 6 years of that 5-year plan. We've had $304,000 to spend, so we've been maximizing the best we could and get as many vehicles we could, so. But we're getting to that point now that, you know, we can spend some more money on an activity bus. We're getting kind of caught up on a lot of our buses, so yeah, I think it'd be a good move.
Good. And thanks to you for getting us to that point. Appreciate that. Call the question.
Okay. Any more?
I hate to put you on the spot, but since you are kind of our CEO,
Yeah.
do you recommend this?
Well, this would be earlier than maybe I was anticipating, but at the same time, you know, I do think it's a season that we could take advantage of having that transportation, and you know, the spring is our busiest time for transportation. That is when we really get, you know, I'm sure it's the same here as it is in any school district, spring and the number of activities. So it would make things a lot better. So in a lot of ways, it would be, and like, you know, with what Keith's saying, I would feel the same way. I feel like we do have that money. We would be replacing it back, you know, after July 1. So it doesn't put the district really at any kind of risk. I don't see it.
Okay. Question, with the bus, you have the operational budget to cover the, I assume it would take additional money to operate it. We have the operational budget built in to do that?
Well, I'd probably be rotating one of our older activity buses out, so I'm not adding, I'm just replacing, you know, upgrading. So, you know, that part wouldn't change because I'd be getting rid of a bus.
Okay.
also.
And we would realize some benefit with the sale of the activity bus you retire, or would we keep
I
that?
put on Purple Wave and
Okay.
get a few $1,000s for it, yes.
Few thousand, okay. A few thousand more than if you waited a little
Yeah.
longer,
Okay.
All right.
Okay, any more discussion points?
I'm not
Go ahead.
really ready to vote on this. I have more questions that I'd have to ask and then think about, mostly in regards to the transportation budget and what has been cut from the transportation budget in the past, and then I'd have to think about it before voting on it. I know we talked about it, but I didn't think that it was gonna come up, so this is something that I'd like to actually see what it looks like.
Okay,
towards the
but there is
budget.
a motion on, the amendment on the floor we need to vote on, but I see where you're coming from.
This is, yeah, because this is just voting on the amendment. We still have the main motion, which has already been made.
Okay, so the amendment was to add the activity bus to the motion. It's been made by Greg and seconded by Paul. We've had discussion. So all those in favor of the amendment, vote by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, so we have 2 to 1, 2, 3, 4. We do. We have 6 people.
Did you get 4 saying yes? I didn't.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe we did.
I think you got 4, didn't you? I think so.
We have 4 yeses and 2 noes, so the amendment passes. Now we're back to the original motion. Any more discussion about okay, let me restate the original motion. Do I have a motion to approve the acceptance of the bid for 4 new buses, including 1 activity bus from Kansas Truck for district transportation?
3 of those buses would be from Kansas Truck.
Oh,
The other one would
okay.
be from another vendor.
Okay.
The activity bus would be from a different vendor.
All right, let me restate that then. Motion to approve the acceptance of bids for 3 new buses from Kansas Truck and an additional activity bus from a different vendor.
Do we have a bid for a coach bus?
I do not.
Oh, you do have a bid?
I do not have a bid.
Yeah, I didn't think so. No.
We
So-
have not went after bids for it. I just have an estimate of price.
Okay, so is this a motion just to say that he can go look, or are we pre-voting to say that he can spend the money to just go buy one?
The latter, I understand.
Because I'd like to see at least bids before we say that we're going to buy one.
Okay, that's right, but we understand right now that the motion is to actually accept it. I mean, okay.
She could make an amendment to change the language of it.
Well, I think the language is clear that we're approving the purchase of those that were proposed and moving forward with purchasing the other before the end of the year. Yes, we will have to have quotes before we can do that. Or RFP or something.
Yeah, I could bring some quotes.
Unless you've got, I don't know, are they on state contract?
They are not on this part.
I guess, yeah, I'd like
Okay.
to amend it in a way saying
Well-
that he can move forward with bids, but I wouldn't want to approve bids before getting bids.
Make your amendment.
Sounds good? So you move. Can you restate your amendment?
I would like to amend it to be, to approve the buses that we have bids for, and for us to go out and get bids on coach buses.
Okay. So that's the motion for the amendment. I need a second on that amendment.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. I have a question. Before our next meeting, which is in December, would you be able to have bids for that bus?
I'll try. So I got to write some specs for it.
Okay.
And get the bids in. If it needs a few weeks to get the bids in, I don't know. Everything I've done in the past basically been on state bids, so it's a little bit different. I don't know what that time frame is. But
Probably a little quicker, I would guess. So.
Somebody wants to issue it.
What's that?
Nope,
Yeah,
hang
that's
on.
what- yeah.
Somebody will make an end of the year. So
Okay, hang on a second here.
changes your bottom line.
So I guess the point of discussion here is that we were trying to move quickly on this so we could get that bus in place by spring
Track season.
track season. Okay.
But I'll go to work tomorrow and see what I can do and
Okay.
get as quick as I can.
Well, let's go ahead and vote on this amendment, unless there's any more discussion. All right, to approve the 3 buses as part of the original motion, and have also, and then search for bids for this activity bus.
Wait. No. What's the amendment? We're just voting.
We're voting on the amendment right now.
Just voting.
Did we ever vote on the original, the one that was amended the first time?
Yes.
We voted on the original amendment, it passed, and we were.
We didn't vote on
She
the-
made a new
Can we
amendment,
just vote
so
on
we
them
have to vote on
separately,
that new
as separate
amendment.
motions?
Well, no, hold on, it's not that hard. We did vote on the amendment that Greg made,
We never voted on it.
and we were still discussing the original motion.
With
And
the
then
amendment.
Sophia made, yes, with the amendment, but then Sophia motioned to clarify that, well, from my understanding, clarify that it's bids for the coach bus, not purchasing the boat.
So she's offering to amend his amendment,
Right.
which he would have to accept, if he would accept that.
Is it just some clarification.
Okay.
Are you asking to, because I think we've already approved going forward with the purchase. The question is, because if you're trying to say that we're not going to do the purchase, I don't think you can make
Yeah,
that motion unless you were in the prevailing party. But if you are making a motion to say that we are going to, subject to the bids being submitted, then I think that would be, now that's my question. Is that what you're trying to do?
I think that's what you,
I'm not sure what.
I'm not, well, I just didn't want to approve for a coach bus before even getting bids.
So I wonder if I made a mistake by moving to that amendment. Maybe we should have voted on the original motion first, and then
so she's trying to amend.
then you can amend, then you can make your own motion afterwards.
I think you
Okay.
did. Thing. I'm trying to remember. You have to accept.
I do like the verbiage, though, I don't know if it's showing, it's not showing on there, but the verbiage we have here, this motion to amend the approval of the acceptance of the bids of 3 school buses from the Kansas Truck for district transportation and obtain bids for the coach bus.
Okay.
That's fine.
I mean, if that works for you, and I kind of feel that we put down, we all agreed that there was a motion and a second for the purchase of the buses, and then there was an amendment that you made and I seconded, and I don't know if we voted on that.
No, we have not voted on this amendment yet. So from my understanding, this, if we do vote this amendment in, it does change the original motion.
That's already
Obviously.
happened, right?
Yeah,
We've already done that. The question is, are we further amending this to reflect?
Yes.
I don't know if we ever approved the 3 buses to begin with.
But
No,
we
because-
accepted Greg's amendment.
Right.
That's now the motion that we were going to vote on, but we didn't. We discussed it. Sophia has now said, wait, I think it needs to be changed.
We need to amend the amendment.
Because the motion had changed to what the amendment was, I think.
It was changed, it's a new motion. It's a
new motion, and
Well, it
she's
is a
talking about
motion,
it.
and now she's wanting to amend it.
And that's where we're at.
Yes.
Right.
Right. We.
So I can see 2 things. We vote for this motion. It does obviously change the original motion because that's what an amendment does. On the other hand, if someone would vote against this, and the original motion still stands, which is to buy the 3 buses and the activity bus.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Right, because that amendment was
Right.
accepted, so.
So-
We have to vote if we're going to accept
Go ahead
her
and
amendment.
move on to this amendment here.
Right.
So what we'll do is vote verbally and then click in your answers electronically. So we're voting for this amendment here, and then we'll follow up with if this passes, it changes the original motion. If it doesn't pass, the original motion still needs to be voted on.
We're voting on Sophia's amendment first.
Right, we're voting on Sophia's amendment. So we're voting on the motion to amend the approval of the acceptance of the bids for 3 new buses, school buses from Kansas Truck for the district transportation and to obtain bids for the coach bus. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You got it.
How many was that? Raise your hands, please. 1, 2, 3. And then opposed, all in favor, opposed say nay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Amendment fails.
Okay. Amendment does not pass. Okay, amendment fails. 3-3. Now we're back to the original, which is a motion to approve the acceptance of the bids for 3 new school buses from Kansas Truck for district transportation and to fund the activity bus.
Can we have it typed up here?
Yep.
Read, so everybody can see.
Okay.
Type up, can you change this? So, yeah, just have the motion we're really voting on.
Motion to approve the acceptance of 3 new school buses from Kansas Truck District Transportation and approval for the coach bus. But, yeah.
Because we can't separate those bids.
Yeah, with bids.
Because you can't.
That wasn't on the original motion.
We still have to do a process.
Okay, that's up on the board there. A motion to approve the acceptance of bids for 3 new school buses from Kansas Truck for district transportation and the purchase of a coach bus.
With I think, Mike, with the understanding that bids will be brought back.
Yeah, because purchase can't, we can't approve.
Without reviewing.
Yeah, because we'd have to have more than one.
You gotta open the bidding and then.
Right.
We're tied.
So that's understood. We all understand that.
Implicit.
Okay, so we'll do this again. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
4 of us. All opposed?
Nay.
2. Please vote electronically the same.
My computer shut down.
Well,
Oh,
you can't do it, Jess will take care of it for us.
Thanks.
Okay, the motion passes 4-2. Thanks, Russ, for bearing with us.
We'll look forward to seeing you again in December.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're moving on to item number 7, district communication. And Ron, this is yours, I believe.
Yeah, and this is, I'll be fairly short. KASB Annual Conference, December 6th through the 8th. I know some of you are leaving the school board, but at the same time, technically, want to make sure that invitation is extended to all board members. And if you're interested in attending the conference, please let us know. Sophia, I have heard that you did serve as the delegate, the voting delegate. Are you planning on going?
Still under consideration.
Still under consideration. If anyone of you, and it's not, we don't have to have a voting delegate, but if any of you do go, I would turn your name in as the voting delegate. So just let us know.
When do you need to know?
Well, I don't know what the deadline is. It's sometime early December.
You can also go up to the table when you're there and put yourself as the delegate, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
A question, oh wait, question on that, does it need to be a current board member or could it be one of the newly elected board members?
It has to be a current.
Okay.
Question? Okay, so we'll get with you in about a
Yes.
week or so?
Yeah. And also just wanted to make sure everyone, we have a new website, which will be any day now. Our website has been worked on. We are waiting for the unveiling. We also have a new app, Hayes USD 489. If you do not have the app, we would really like for everyone to get the school app. You'll find it very handy, very conducive to lots of information that's at your fingertips. So be looking for that. And also this will probably be the last time we talk about it, but last week the O'Laughlin delegation went to Washington and accepted their Blue Ribbon Schools Award. I heard Mrs. Giles skipped across the stage. I didn't actually see it, but I heard that she skipped across to get the award. So congratulations once again to the O'Laughlin The celebration that was prior to their trip was a great opportunity to lots of cool things at O'Laughlin that day. We had some moms that served as cheerleaders for the school, which will never be forgotten by some of their
fifth
kids.
graders.
So fifth grade students. So anyway, great things. I think we saw a lot of the great things going on in our district tonight through the recognition. So really, really proud of everything that's going on.
Very good. Thank you. Yes, we have. All righty. Now we have the executive session portion of our meeting. But first, at this point of the night, I know we're all tired and want to get out of here. But as a board, we tend to step on the motion to move into executive session. So I'm asking you not to do that again. This is very routine for us, but please allow me to actually finish making the motion before we run out of here. I move that the Board of Education recess into executive session to discuss negotiations between the Board of Education and Hayes NEA in accordance with the employee-employer negotiations exemption of the Kansas Open Records Act. Open session will resume at 7:50 in this boardroom. Those persons to attend, in addition to the Board of Education, are the Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, Director of Special Education, Interim Executive Director of Finance and Support Services, and Legal Counsel. Do I have a second to my motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Okay, we'll be back.